feel the pain all around. Keep the love in your heart and hold your head high.
Welcome to the Let That Go show with Kassira, McKee and Richard Skipper. This show is based on Kassira's book, Let That Go, where she guides people in completely blessing and releasing people, places, and all kinds of things. Kassira and Richard share personal insights and experiences based on concepts in Kassira's book, with guests and you, their co-hosts. Are you ready to let that go? Let's go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sunday night. I almost said Saturday night. So many crazy things are going on right now. It's the full moon, which is coming up this week on Friday, as a matter of fact. But of course, we are going to be celebrating the harvest moon tonight. We have Erron Gralore tonight, and he has brought along a guest tonight. So as you can see, they are on.
My friends. This is Cyprian Diaz, and he's my friend. He's an astrologer. He's affiliated with the Sedona Star Spa in Buena Park, California, where they're brilliant place. Look it up if you're in the area, because they do psychic fairs. They do a lot of reading. Amazing group of people. They've been around in the area for a very long time.
Ever since December, it seems like a very long time, but then it's still like, quite fairly new. So we get a lot of traffic coming in, new seekers, everyone from all different kinds of backgrounds. So come check us out when you got the space and the time. So thank you very much.
Well, I am thrilled that you're joining us tonight. It's great to meet your acquaintance. And I hope that this will not be our last encounter. So maybe this will be the beginning of many wonderful things. How did you and Erron get to know each other?
We got to know each other through a spiritual meditation integration group. You could try more on it, Erron.
Was that through? Wait a minute. Where did we first meet? No, it was through Esteban. Yeah. So there's a long story. There's a center down in. Is it still there in Anaheim?
Yeah, it was called the Learning Light Foundation. That's like the longest spiritual center. It's been around there for around like 40 plus years. But then, they're like not in operation ever since the pandemic, because of whatchamacallit, shifts, energy shifts.
Yeah, a lot of big energy shifts. In fact, some very, very famous people visited their facility and taught there over the many, many years that they were in existence. They were. But the way I met Cyprian was through meeting someone else. I had a random and an extremely, first of all, I met a psychic who was involved with them. It was probably 2012, 2011. And she kept inviting me to go down to Anaheim. Now, from Anaheim to West Hollywood is like, I might as well be going from the South Pole to the North Pole, That's how it feels. So,
I've done that trek. I know.
Yeah. So on this one fateful day, I was at the office in Beverly Hills just deleting emails, and I came across an email from Learning Light, and I thought, okay, delete it, move on. I could not delete this email. I tried. I argued with myself about, why are you not deleting this email? I found myself looking through the email. I just wanted to clear my inbox. I ended up scrolling down to the bottom, and at the bottom it says, join us, psychic fair tonight. And I thought, wait, that's Anaheim. You're insane, Erron. Just delete this shit. Excuse the French. Delete this thing. So as I'm arguing with myself, I see myself like a TV show. I'm packing my bags. I'm entering the address in my GPS. I'm like, what are you doing? We're going home. What are you doing? Anaheim's the other way. You're never going to get there in time. That's like a 5-hour drive. It's only about 2 hours, but during traffic. I argued with myself for 2 hours. 2 hours as I was driving down there. And finally, I got to the location, and I said, oh, there it is across the street. And I have plenty of time to go in there. Let me get gas before I do that. Who does that? You get to the location, you go in. Anyway, all this resistance, and this is part of our
you just hit the magic word. I was going to ask, what was all the resistance about?
The resistance was all the fear and drama and all this stuff that I would normally build up around doing something practical for myself, something that I was led to do, and something that I felt good about doing, you know, not honoring that impulse to want to do something good for myself. That was building up, and it was expressing, and I could see this quiet self just taking control, and I could see this little ego arguing with me the whole time. It was just arguing and arguing, and so anyway, I walk in, I finally park. Okay, got there, parked, I walked in. This little bitty, remember the lady from Poltergeist that says, "This house is clean,"
yes,
with the little bob in her?
Yes.
So she came up to me and she says, "Oh, good, you're here for the psychic readings. Now I'm going to show you where to go." She like rushed me through the hallway of this. It's an older church, so they had the back where the little classrooms are. You know, she rushed me through. "Here's the gift shop. Go in here. Pay this. Do that. Stand in line. Go down the hall. Get your reading." I was like, "Okay." So she, at that moment, ego was gone. I get the tickets. I'm kind of chuckling with myself. Okay, you're here. Might as well do it. I walk down the hallway, and I see three people, two women and one man, sitting in the middle of this narrow hallway in the back of a church. And I'm thinking they're waiting. And I asked them, "Are you waiting for a reading?" They say to me, well, the gentleman says to me, he says, No, we're readers. We're just taking a break from the reading." And he goes, "If you want a reading, go into the room, walk around. There are all these readers with their tables, with their tablecloths, all their accoutrements, you know, built up around them." It was quite spectacular. He's very simple, shaved head, and I turned to him and I said, "You're reading me. You're reading me." He says, "Oh no, I'm taking a break." I says, "No, you're reading me." So he says, "Okay, you know what I'll do? I'll show you around. I'll help you pick out somebody."
Isn't it funny? First of all, what I'm hearing here is, first of all, you have the resistance to getting there in the first place. And then you find the person that is going to read you, and he had resistance to reading you. And he disappears. He'll come back. He's going to be back. I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those nights, everyone. Zelda Rubinstein, that's absolutely right. And we lost her all too soon. Some of you may know that she passed away very early on. Kassira is having trouble locking on. Erron, as you can tell, is on the road. So he may be coming and going. So I'm here to talk about what's going on with this time of year. So if any of you have any questions, comments, suggestions, anything, jump in here. We'll talk about anything that's on your mind, whether it's about what's going on here tonight or anything in general. Just throw them at me. Here's Erron again. So as I was saying, Erron,
hello. Oops.
It seems to me
Robert Patterson,
as if you had resistance to getting there, and then you find the person that's going to read you, and he had initial resistance to reading you.
Yes. And here's the funny part. Okay, so you know, I love to tell this story, especially in front of him, because we've now been friends for a long time, and that's how I met Cyprian.
It was you?
No, it's a different friend.
Okay, it was a
different person.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's taking me to all the tables. And I asked him, "Where's your table?" Because now I'm done with the resistance. I'm letting the spirit drive the car. You know, I've given the wheel over to, as they say. He says, he says, "That's my table over in the corner." Now his table had nothing on it. It was just a little card table, fold-up card table with 2 chairs. And he was ready to go home. Really, he was. And so I go and sit myself down right at his table. And he sits down on the other side. He says, "Okay, I guess we're doing this." And I said, "Yes, we are doing this." Now, I'm bringing this up for a point because the full moon is in Aries. Keep that in mind.
I don't know if you can see the scroll that I have on the screen right now. Are you able to see that?
The full moon. Oh, I see it. There we go.
There we go. Aries is a profound moment of personal transformation and self-awareness. Use this time to connect with your inner fire.
There we are. There we are. And that is exactly what happened during that entire day, that fateful day some time ago. And I'm bringing it up now. Well, Spirit brought it up now, I'll just say, because we are in that right now. Now, here's just to finish that story. I sit down with him. Remarkable, stunningly remarkable things happen. I'm like tuning into things. And then at the end of it, he checks my energy level, because he can do this thing where he can mirror your energy level within his own body, so he can see where clearing needs to happen. And he was very, in fact, a couple of times during the procedure, I would, like, my eyes are closed, and I'm like, how does he know that? His eyes were closed too, but I'm like, he could tell when energy was cleared out of my body, and I felt it at that same moment. Anyway, so all those kind of cool things were happening, and at one moment he says, "There, do you feel better?" And he does this big grin at me, and I said, "Oh my God, you're him." And by that I mean I had done a past life regression, and in this past life regression, I had a teacher who, I was a kid, and he was admonishing me for misusing spiritual. How do we say this? Tools that are used for spiritual development. And he admonished me. And then, but he had this grin, the same as Esteban's grin, same exact one. And so it was him. It freaked me out. You hear about this in the movies, you hear about this, and you think, oh, that's just ridiculous. It happened to me. I was searching for a witness because I didn't know what was going on. But the bottom line was that fire led me, interrupted everything. It just said, this is what I needed to start my next journey. And that's where we are now. We're in this process of the full moon reflecting the light from Libra, which is the mini. You can't see me in the camera there. Then we have the light from the sun reflecting to the moon, saying, this is us. This is the collective. And they're looking at the individual in the full moon. The full moon is shining that light down on us, saying, who am I? Why am I here? What do I want? And if I'm not doing it, I won't have a choice but to do it. That's what's happening.
Now, how long ago was it that this took place?
About 7 or 8 years ago.
Now, do you find that since that took place, that you still have the same resistance when these opportunities come your way? Or do you feel that you've gotten through that door, and when these opportunities come your way, that you are more readily available, if you will, to accept them?
I'm more available to accept them, but that critic is still there. The critic still speaks. That voice still says, what are you doing? You're stupid. That's, does all that. But now I can say, thank you. That means I'm on path. I'm on track. If I hear a critic, I now attempt to lean into it. And I say, why don't you want to do that, Erron? Is it because you're resisting, or because you know you're going to be changing and it's always for the better? So just lean into it. But the critical voice is there. I was born with it. It'll always be there. The same with all of us in our astrology. We go through an evolution during our life, but the basics are that we evolve from point A through our life and then beyond, and et cetera, and it keeps going. I'm going to ask you to chime in on that since you do that every day. Do you have that critical voice in you?
All the time, speaking of critical voices, I have a lot of Virgo placements. Well, I'm a Virgo, so simply put, which is just my sun sign, but I have other planetary placements in Virgo too. So, I embody that energy throughout lifetimes, especially through my whole evolution of growth. So it's about me focusing on my strengths. And he was talking about the inner critic, the inner voice, and the resistance. But then this is a theme that that's been apparent to me when it came to the past 3 or 4 years of my healing journey of letting go, just flowing with the energy, not not holding on too much, resisting too much to what doesn't serve us for our highest good.
Yeah.
So
now, this is going to drive me crazy. I want you to spell your name so that I can put your name on the screen.
Okay, it's It doesn't like spell
It's
that's pronounced.
CYPRIAN.
CY.
CYP like Peter.
Mhm.
RIAN. Last name Diaz. DIAZ.
CYPR.
CYP
R
RA.
I A
Oh,
N.
IAN. I'm sorry.
IA.
Yes.
N.
Okay, great, perfect. And I got Kassira just got here as well. So
Kassira!
part of her has gotten here.
Yay! She's emerging into our reality.
So
Darling.
this event that you both are on your way to right now, if you can tell everyone a little bit about this event, and is this an
I have to
event?
figure this out. All right.
Okay.
Is this event something that is?
I
Hello, darling.
my computer is on psychedelic drug.
Yeah, we can. Is
Yeah,
this
I know,
event based on the time frame that we're in right now, or is it just coincidental that's happening
It's coincidental. Now, Dr. Stephen Greer has been doing. He's a former ER doctor, okay, medical doctor, but since he was 14 years old, he had been doing these meditations and interacting with extraterrestrials and other beings, and he didn't, it was a thing that came naturally to him. Now, over the years, he's been attempting to push forward with what do we call it? This word never comes to mind when I want it to come to mind.
Intelligence.
With our connection with extraterrestrial intelligence,
Phenomenon.
I'm drawing a blank on it. It starts with a C, but anyway, so he feels that we have the ability to consciously connect, and he's been teaching people for many decades. He'll go to Congress, he would meet with congressional leaders, with leaders around the world, actually, about these disclosure. That's the word I'm looking for. I was just gonna run about this ET disclosure. And in fact, we have, because right now it's in the news, and it's a big deal in the news. It's a the military are now releasing information about the TikTok in the sky, or Tic Tac or whatever it is, Tic Tac in the sky, and he's been at the forefront of that for all these decades, pushing for this information to be revealed. So, in the meantime, he's brought everybody else into this awareness by sponsoring these events, because he found that you can get a few people out together in a park late at night, meditating together, and you have this phenomena. And his big deal is to record it on good camera equipment. He has a lot of YouTube. He's all over the place on the internet, so easy to find and easy to look at. What's been actually. Kassira went to one a few weeks back, because we've been talking about it. So, you should, Kassira. Can you hear me, Kassira?
I can't.
Can't hear. Oh, okay.
You look great.
Yeah, that happened to me too.
now?
So yeah, that's what this is. Conscious.
So, do you stay over? Is this an overnight event, or are you just going just for a few hours and then you return home, or?
Just go overnight. Not overnight. It lasts until 1 a.m. and then we just scatter and go our separate ways.
Yeah. Though there's an option if you want to stay overnight, but then the group decides to not stay overnight. Especially it's harder because it's a Sunday and a lot of people work during the weekdays. So.
Yeah.
So, what are your ultimate goals that you are hoping to achieve with this particular event that you're going to? And I'd like to hear from both of you.
I'll let you.
I would say connecting with greater meaning, connecting with the higher dimensions. So it's an intention of just wanting to be guided by such universal forces.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it is basically to see and record, to experience, to sit around a campfire, to tell some ET stories to validate each other's experience, to say, oh, look over there, there's a light phenomena, did you see it? Also, there's an energetic phenomena that usually will happen. So it's for the experience of it, and it's for the that follow the bouncing ball, follow the joy of life for me. Let the inner critic shut up and just go for it. So
Is
yep.
this so? You both have done this this event before, am I correct?
I've never done this event before. I've been at a Conscious Life Expo event in, it's called the Mass Meditation Initiative. It was held in downtown Los Angeles at a beautiful, rather new park. And there's a presenter named Robert Bingham. And Robert Bingham is known for basically calling in the ETs no matter where he is. And he can be in downtown LA. And he always wants people to bring good camera equipment so they can record the event. And I've seen that with my own eyes in a huge crowd of people, where we've seen these things materialize in the sky above us, above a big event, and they're just hanging out, letting us record. Now they look like silver, they look like bubbles forming in a bathtub, they're just pop into existence, and they'll have multi levels of bubbles popping in. And we would see birds fly by that did not interact. We would see planes fly by at different levels, like a small, like Cessna airplane flew by, and you could kind of get a sense of where it was in the sky. Because after a while, you just start to think, "Am I going crazy?"
What's the definition? What is the definition of crazy?
Exactly.
So anyone that knows me, form your own opinions, everyone. Cyprian, we are experiencing the harvest moon. For me, this time of year, for me, it's a time of reflection. We are coming through the summer. We are going into
The fall.
a new phase in our lives. We are moving towards the holiday season. To me, it's a joyous season. It's also a time where we really are reflecting on creativity, and not only within ourselves, but within the Earth's surface and everything. What does this time mean for you, both personally and as an astrologer?
Well, for me personally, it's about just releasing the intensity of emotions throughout tough moments of our life. The past 2 months have been quite energetically intense and tough. But then all I know is that on a spiritual level, when I reflect, that is only temporary. So, with the full moon coming up, which is in Aries, it's about just releasing, making everything straightforward and not complex or complicated any longer, especially when we're going into the holiday season. So it's important for us because a lot of times that people feel they need to work and survive, make money to have a meaningful holiday period where you could just spend on luxurious gifts or parties and gatherings and put the expenses in. But this is more so a theme of not worrying so much as well, and just I mentioned earlier, flowing so that way when we get to the period season, it's not about the quantity, how much it costs. It's about things that are simple, like family, friends, and just the moment. Everything doesn't have to be just so luxurious in order to have much of a quality moment in time. But for me, as an astrologer, it goes hand in hand more personally, whenever I do my practice and my work for other clients. When I apply it to myself and do it for myself, I look up where the planetary placements are at any given time and how it affects me or it affects me on that level. Just with a full moon coming up astrologically, this is the last cycle we're going to have before the new moon in Scorpio comes up. It'll be an eclipse, a solar eclipse coming up. So when it comes to the new moon, it's about new beginnings, not endings like the full moons. So when it comes to like intentions and abundance, though, that's when we want to like go all out. So everything's aligning astrologically. Though we are like going through like the toughest moments and periods in order to experience like the relaxing, more abundant ones to the end of this year. So it's going to be a good like end of the year and a good transition to like the next big year of like the beginning of 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's everything that I'm reading and studying right now is telling me the same thing. And Erron, I mean, the Aries moon, what are you getting from all of this energy at this point? And how is this affecting you in terms of your day-to-day interactions with this? And of course, we're in the shadow of this full moon that's coming up on Friday as well.
Yeah. So bear in mind, we just left Mercury retrograde and we're still in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. That was a tough Mercury retrograde. I can tell you a lot of electronic stuff was going weird, going wonky. A lot of health issues for people and our pets and our friends, just this buzzing that was too much for all of us. And in fact, we're emerging from an astrological aspect called a hammer of Thor, and it's worse than it sounds. Okay, because Thor, of course, he had that magical hammer that could create lightning and disrupt the flow of the universe or whatever, and he would throw it and it would come back to him. So astrologically, there's a bunch of alignments in there that create this particular frequency, and it makes things really hard. We see things that are clearly need to be released. We see relationships that clearly need to be released. We see maybe jobs with a lot of job shifting, a lot of intensity shifting. In fact, it's funny that we say this because as we were starting, Cyprian asked me if we had collectively done our new moon intentions. And he says it's important for us to do the new moon intention because we're setting the frequency for the full moon release. And we have to remember to do that. So, Kassira, can you hear us yet? Are you able to hear us?
Oh, good. Well, first of all, Kassira, you look.
I'm listening.
You look great, Kassira, and I mean, and we've got a very clear image, so that's very, very good.
I'm on my cell phone. We have a huge storm headed this way, and it's affecting our Wi-Fi and it's affecting everything. So
right now it is pouring outside. I mean, like you wouldn't believe. I mean, we've got
it's going to do that here soon.
Yesterday, and I'll just share this, and then I'm going to shut up. I want you to talk. But I spoke yesterday at a memorial for an old friend of mine, someone that I dated for a couple of years, who just passed away last month, and he did 5 productions of Hamlet, and this is Hurricane Ophelia that is going up the the East Coast. Wow. So it was just, someone brought that up yesterday at the memorial, so I thought that was very interesting. So Kassira, take over, talk.
Oh, never tell a diva to take over, honey. Well, the first thing I want to mention is that the last full moon, then combined with the Mercury retrograde, kicked my ass. It just kicked. I can't even tell. I don't even remember. It was such a blur. I talked to Erron and I talked a lot. I can't even remember what I said. I just said things are not good. Things are. Erron, what did I say? I think I felt. I felt confused. I felt like I had no direction.
Yeah. Right.
I felt just like, why am I here? Why am I here right now? What is my purpose right now? There were a lot of F-bombs. And I'm so.
No.
It was horrible. It was horrible. And now, interestingly, before the moon being my ruling planet, before the full moon, with starting of the new moon, I start feeling it. And interestingly, this full moon is about endings. It's about ending things. And as you know, I say in my book, Let That Go.
Yep.
It's about making the effort, initiating, ending things that have expired, if we know have expired, whether it's a way of life, something we're doing, a habit, a relationship. That's a big one, ending some relationships that just don't work. We're just not on the same page. And for me, I learned a couple of weeks ago, I learned that I learned that I have a belief that I can still party and eat like a teenager, and I can't. In this third dimension, in my third density body, my third density body was like, "What are you thinking? Don't stop it," you know. So I did,
Right.
and I have ended that belief. I have ended the way I ate, the way I partied, and I had a darn good time, though, I got to tell you. I went to Houston with Doug and my friend John Morehouse, and to play with and party with Tony Moran, who, by the way, is now going to produce some. We're going to work together. Tony's going to produce some new dance stuff with me.
Very nice.
And I ended that. I've ended that whole. I've ended that. I ended it. And interestingly, the harvest moon is about endings. And here's the thing: it starts getting cold, and we start to get on the road to hibernating. Who wants to hibernate? When we're hibernating, when winter comes, we're going to be thinking about a lot of stuff. We're going to be, we're going to be hunkering down, and we've already got enough stuff to be concerned with. And who wants to be concerned with and thinking about things that are not good for us, things that are nagging at us, things that are sucking our energy out, right?
Right.
So, yeah. So I'm on that page. I'm ending things. I'm ending things for me. I'm not any relationships really. In fact, I have some new friends and new relationships happening. Interestingly, yet letting go of a certain way of being and certain habits and just beliefs that just don't work for me now is key for me right now.
You know what? You see me passing something to Cyprian here. I'm sharing your charts, so you can reflect on it a little bit if you want. Since we can't do the singing bowls or anything in the car.
I noticed one thing you have in common: your little moon placements.
Yep, Aquarius.
I can't hear. I'm sorry.
Like,
Yeah,
we're all Aquarius moon. Yep. Interesting because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus.
Wait! What time is it right now?
4:33 p.m.
Because at 7:29 Eastern time tonight, Aquarius went into. Hold on a second here, because I wrote that down.
Your time.
It's funny that you just said that because I wrote that down because it was going to be a part of tonight's show. It was going to happen. At 7:29 tonight, Aquarius, the moon went into Aquarius.
There we go, our moon.
Yes, it happened right at 7:29, which was just a few moments ago.
Right, when I was passing this back and forth, and Cyprian said, "Your moons are in Aquarius." He whispered that to me just now. So
it just happened.
So is mine.
Yeah, all three of us.
Yes.
Not an accident.
Kind of, if you look at my chart, I'm kind of on the cusp. My moon and rising are kind of on a cusp. I'm just barely Aquarius. And I'm just barely Scorpio rising. So I feel like I'm a 5-signer.
She's right there.
So and my question is, I'm not able because I'm on my phone. I'm not able to see the chat. Does anybody have anything to say about what we've been talking about?
Let's see here.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Pam Stubbs keeps saying wash hands. I don't know what that means.
COVID. COVID.
COVID is making
oh,
a rearing
okay.
its
COVID
ugly
back.
head. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
COVID back.
Uh,
Mhm.
so if anyone has any comments, questions, suggestions, throw them at us. We'll put them
Yeah.
on the screen. So that's
Okay.
very
Anyway, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No problem.
Cyprian.
I'll go for it.
Oh, you mean like
Yeah, like this,
oh, yeah.
the Aquarius moon, if you want to throw in an interpretation of that.
Yes, you know, the moon, like transit wise, just went into Aquarius, of course. That affects us all in different ways because, like, the moon is the fastest moving planet every 2.5 days. It does, but then, you know, since it's a special, like, a moon Aquarian day, then, like, I'm gonna chime in on, like, then in a placement for, like, moon in Aquarius, like, the moon placements that, like, the most people in my life have is, like, you know, Pisces or Aquarius. So my mom was an Aquarius moon, but she's, like, in spirit now. So, like, you know, the moon's about emotions and, like, you know, comfort and, you know, the feminine archetype, the motherly type, but then the Aquarius archetype is more like detached, but then more of, like, you know, a love for humanity and groups and, like, eclectic, like more alien like. So it's, like, interesting that we're having this, like, alien, you know, extraterrestrial contact event because, like, you know, the Aquarian archetype is very alien like, you know.
Interesting.
Otherworldly.
Yeah, it has that Uranus.
Yes.
Energy. Very scientific. Yes, otherworldly. You know, tech, anything like that. All that stuff. Really, it's like the future. It's looking deep into the future, and we're pulling that back. We're saying, okay, here we see this. Let's bring it and then let it settle into where we are now. And right now, I'm feeling like that is a really important. Kind of goal. I don't want to say goal like the final, but it's important for us to realize we are traveling into that which we would call the future. We are moving forward through this thing called space-time, and it looks like we're moving into the future. My real feeling is more like we're layering on something new, like the onion shell. We're putting on a new shell of, okay, we can interact with the technology a little bit differently, like the interaction of more subtle energies. You know, I mean, we're four people, different parts of the country interacting at the same time, just in a different realm, and it feels like this moving into this Aquarius gives me the feeling like, well, you know, it can be much more than that. We can move through even subtler levels of energy. How to do that? First, we have to know what we are in. We have to know the energy. Where you know, we were talking about resistance earlier. Where does resistance lie within my own experience? How do I let it go? How do I breathe it out? How do I get it so that it's not needed, not so necessary? It might, the impulse might be there, but I don't need to resist it anymore. If I can let go of the urge to resist what is already coming in, then I can benefit from the gifts that this Aquarius moon and this Aquarius gathering can offer, you know. And it's not just related to us. Anybody who catches this at any time will say, oh, wait a minute, you know, this is my vibe, you know, or something like that. There's a because it's in the field, it's in the space-time event that we are in. Just pointing at something.
This is I just noticed this Kassira's chart because it's still, like, you know, on the screen right now. I noticed, like, natal Jupiter in Aquarius and the moon aligning with, like, conjuncting her south node in Aquarius. South node, which means like your past lives. So, you know, and like things that you need to let go of that doesn't, like, serve you for your highest good.
I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding
too.
what he's saying because he's not, like, right up on the. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. He's talking about your south node in Aquarius and moving. What was that? Now say that again.
Like conjuncting, like it's like on your moon. So like that's why, like, it's interesting that you're talking about, like, how, like, the past full moon, like, really affected you, and, like, the story of, like, how you had to let go of, like, some things that was, like, recurring in, like, your life. So, you know, it's just like some confirmation that, like, I pointed out from, like, your natal chart. So
Look at Richard's.
yes.
Well, her book is Let
Yeah,
That Go. Let That
it's fun to
Go.
have it's fun to have a practicing astrologer right here.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I try to like simplify things as much as I can for like everybody involved too. So yeah, like Richard's moon like it's also like on the cusp, like you said, of like Aquarius and like Pisces as well, 28 degrees. So like there's like a commonality between like Kassira and you. And
Oh, well.
Oh yeah.
They're brother and sister. Richard and
We are
Kassira are
Richard
brother.
and Kassira, yes.
Yeah.
We're Hummel kids. We look like
Same
Hummels.
sector. Great minds think alike, and then like
Yeah.
it's like you could like telepathically like you could not only read
We
their
are
thoughts, but then
Patty
you could like feel
separated.
their feelings.
Right.
Electric feelings, though. Aquarius is about electricity, and it's also about hopes, wishes, and dreams, as well as technology. So like we're in a technological format of like communicating right now through this podcast.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. So now it's interesting we're talking about this, and they call it the harvest moon specifically because it's the time to harvest. Sounds like we're gathering up, but we are gathering up. But the reason we're gathering up is because the bounty has released itself. The pumpkin has fallen off the vine. Everything is ready to be gathered. It's
Yep.
ready to be dealt with. And in our own lives, we're ready to deal with things. We're ready. We can feel that push. We're saying, oh wow, these things are happening. Yesterday, in fact, we another friend of ours was discussing human design, and she's getting really into the human design, and she was sharing a particular, what was that called? A gate in the mandala. Yeah, she was trying to explain it. It was, for me, very complicated, but Cyprian got it. And she was saying yesterday was about determination, and what was it? There was a gate of determination.
Focus.
Anyway, but yeah, yesterday probably felt very determined. And we have these kind of experiences. One typically leads to the next. We're usually not jerked around by the universe or by the frequencies that we live in too much. I mean, sometimes we might need to be aware that there might be a flash flood or something like that. We've got earth changes to be aware of. We've got all the stuff that we see on the news. Be aware of it. We keep ourselves, look both ways before we cross the street, that sort of thing. But we're supported in our evolution. That's the bottom line. And we're supported when we allow ourselves to become aware, when we can release, take that deep breath, exhale with intention, clarify, and sometimes it just takes, if you can't be appreciative for something that you have, then be appreciative that you don't have something awful that somebody else, although that's kind of a negative way to appreciate. I don't like that very much.
Erron, you did it again. That was exactly what the sermon was in church this morning. That this idea that so many of us, he told the story of Jesus and hiring, the 5 people to come and work for him. Do you know the story? And the first person came to start in the morning and then would work an hour. And then the next person would come and work an hour. And they would all have various times during the day that they would work. And based on the time that they were working during the day, one would be working like in the middle of the day when the sun was at its highest and would be the hottest. But at the end of the day, they were all paid the same amount. And then he asked the congregation, what was the 3 words that would come out of all of them when the checks were paid out?
Is that all?
No,
I don't know.
That's not fair.
Oh.
And that's true of what all of us think. That's not fair. I didn't get my fair share. That's not, I want more. And I also saw a meme today on the same theme where this guy says to this other guy, be careful, that foreigner will take your extra cookie. And it's this fear mentality that is inbred in all of us, that someone is going to get more of our share than we are, when there's actually, we're all given an equal amount if we are just open our eyes to the fact we're all given the same amount of time each day to do whatever we want to do with that time. And then you'll hear someone say, well, I didn't have enough time to do that. Well, you were given the same amount of time that I was given. It's a matter of what you decide to do with that time.
That's right. Yeah. You know, we were listening to this channel, this woman who channels angels, I think she said, and it was very, you know, I won't go into that actually because it was so complicated that I haven't quite digested it yet. But the bottom line is that, and Kassira and I learned this through Buddhist practice, is that we chant for what we want, and we chant for what we get those things that we are aligned to. And somebody asked me, why does it have to be physical? And I said, well, physical is very easy to prove. It's usually way more than physical, but physical is easy to prove. I can't prove to somebody that, oh, I've had a spiritual attainment. Let's sit around and talk about it. That'll last for 4 minutes, you know, whatever. You know, unless they can experience themselves, then it doesn't matter. But if you say, I got this car, I chanted for it, and somebody just gave it to me, or I got the opportunity to meet such and such a person that I chanted for, and you know, we can also, what we also learn to realize is that we're chanting, but it's echoing, it's tuning ourselves into that frequency of wherever our point of focus is. And you know, right now, going into these, as we call it, the age of Aquarius, we're going to see a lot more of that. And we're going to see a lot more of, wow, I'll ask myself, did I ask for this in that way? Oops, I missed. Now, we get to say, oops, I missed. Let me turn it back over and then bring it back in as the divine sees it. That's what I like to say for myself. Let's give it back and try again. We always get the opportunity to try again. That's what life is about. That's what reincarnation is about. We reincarnate from one moment to the next, from one life to the next, from, you know, who knows where it ends and begins. But what we do know is that we have this moment right now to say, oh, wait, look at all this cool stuff. I mean, we're sitting out here in a car. It's 100 degrees outside. We're in Palm Springs. I attempted to do the video outside so we could see the beautiful palm trees and everything. But we almost got eaten by fire ants. So we had to redo it. You know, we renegotiated where we were. Uh-oh, Richard's gone, I think.
Richard,
anyway,
where are you?
So the idea is to keep focused on where we are, what we're doing, what we want, and how we're going to do it, you know. And the easiest way is through our heart.
So, and what you were referring to is conspicuous benefits and inconspicuous benefits, or what we call it in Buddhism, conspicuous and inconspicuous. That's interesting because our ego minds are the minds that tell us what we think we want, or what we think would best serve us. Yet when we chant or pray or meditate, we're connecting to higher consciousness. It's actually the higher consciousness within us that makes the decision of what we're actually going to receive. I've chanted for several things over the years that didn't manifest, yet other things manifested. So when I do put forth a petition, I say this or something better. This or something better. So I say, okay, universe, this is the idea, yet I may not know that.
Yeah.
This is wrong for me, or you know, and if it's right for me, bring it on. And I've had.
Oh no, the storm got her.
Is she frozen for you too, as well?
Yeah, I think the storm got her. Oh no, but it's true that this or something better for the highest good of all concerned. We end our thought. And in fact, if we can practice that, I want food. Let's do this for all, the highest good for all concerned. We wouldn't think to do that. It seems cumbersome, but if we took the time, it would be interesting as an experiment to say, let's do after every thought for the highest good of all concerned. Okay, I'm hungry. I want a pizza for the highest good of all concerned. I need to get gas for the highest good of all concerned. You know, it would be an interesting experiment to see how that sort of affirmation at the end of each thought would manifest. We might see some surprises.
I don't know if and this is from Alan. This is like Dorothy being amazed by people's comings and goings in The Wizard of Oz, yes, my people come and go so quickly here.
Hello.
Yes. So, let me.
There she is.
But I don't know if I mentioned it on this show.
Everybody disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it here, but I've told this story before.
Hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Do you hear us? But there's a Leslie Jordan.
You guys disappeared. I went offline. Yeah.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we're here. But there's a great story that Leslie Jordan tells that he had a sponsor that told him that when he went into an audition, instead of going in thinking, I got to get this job, to go in with the attitude of how can I be of service to everybody in the room. And he said once he went in, and the show that he was auditioning for was Ally McBeal, he went in with this attitude of how can I be of service to everybody in this room. And he went in to entertain them instead of to get something back from them. So, of course, he had them rolling in the aisles, and he got the phone call before he got home that he was going to be on Ally McBeal, and that changed the trajectory of his entire career. And I think that, and I started working with a career coach this week, and one of the things that I was reading from Emmett Fox is, his belief was, and I truly believe this, that God has a divine plan for all of us, or Buddha, or whatever higher consciousness, whatever. All of us are unique in what we bring to the table. And when I audition for something, when I go for a show, when I go after a particular person I'd like to interview, if I get that job or person or whatever, it was meant to be. And if somebody else gets it, it was meant to be. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it was, that I'm right or wrong or whatever. It's just that I keep working hard at what I do for the good of all concerned, and I will reap the rewards that will come my way as a result of all of that.
I say you work fun.
Yes.
I had a moment today. I had a very busy day yesterday. I had a commitment night that turned into overnight. I take care of a friend's brother who has dementia. That's all I'm going to say, on occasion. And I was asked to stay with him morning to night, and it turned out I had to stay with him overnight, plus one of the family's big dogs I'd never met before, from a pit bull mix. His name's Poppy, and he's adorable. And Poppy latched onto me and slept with me. Anyway, so that was a good part of the day. And I was not able to leave until like, 12:30. And then I had an appointment. And then I had to come home and, do stuff. And I was like, And when I was running errands, I said out loud, man, the third dimension is a lot of work. It is so much work. What's the purpose? It's just work, work, work. And immediately I heard the higher consciousness in my head say, you get to do all this stuff in the third dimension.
Wow.
And at higher dimensions, this doesn't work this way. You get to actually be in a physical third dimensional form, and you can touch things, and you can feel things, and you can drive cars, and you can, you get to meet all these other people, and you get to eat, well, I'm not eating what I really like to eat, but we get to eat, and we get to see movies. And I mean, I don't know what it's like in a higher dimension yet. I mean, I have before, but when we come back, for some reason, we don't remember. And I'm like, were there movies in that dimension? I don't know. So, but yet that came into my head immediately. You get to do this stuff. You get to do this stuff. And whether you have fun doing it, and whether or not you're enjoying yourself, and whether or not you are happy is your choice. It's your belief and your opinion and your choice. There are people that love to, for instance, refugees coming to this country right now. Do you know how much they love to be in a town like Dallas and drive a car and have even the worst apartments here are nicer than anything I ever rented in New York, just so you know.
Yeah.
And paid a fortune for in New York.
Yeah.
You can live in what's considered a horrible apartment here, and it's better than a lot of New York apartments. You have control over your heat, you have air conditioning, you have control over that. In New York, the settings are summer and winter. Here we have thermostats, But
Right.
And I thought about that as I'm like, okay. And I immediately, when I heard that, I went, okay, I got it. All right, I got it. And higher consciousness was like, are you sure? Let me just make my point, And it was that there are many people on the planet that would love to live the way we do. They'd love it.
Yeah.
They'd love to be able to have a car and run errands and shop in our local store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, it just became hard.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad that you said that, because I was thinking about that again in church this morning, and when our visiting priest was talking about this whole thing about that's not fair. And I think about the fact that as I am, now going on 44 years here in New York, 45 years, next year will be 45 years that I've lived here in New York. How many people in small towns and around the country have dreamed of coming to New York who never had that opportunity, who feel that they're stuck for whatever reasons? How many people, the things that we complain about on a daily basis. Oh my God, I got to do this again, when people don't have those, I got to go to work tomorrow and I got to do this, when people are looking for jobs. And there are a lot of people, the things that we go, oh my God, I can't believe I've got to do that again. And someone is out there going, I wish that I could do that. So
the British have a saying, and I heard Maggie Smith. I watch Downton Abbey all the time. I just can't get enough of it because I can't get enough of Maggie Smith.
Right.
Maggie Smith says in one scene, never complain, never explain. And the British royal family says that, by the way. The current British royal family, according to Prince Harry, says that all the time. Never complain, never explain. And I thought about that. I'm like, okay, so, but what never explain means, which I learned a while back, and I'm going to really embrace it again, is like, no matter what people assume of me or what they accuse me of, even if it's wrong, I'm not going to explain it anymore. I'm not going to explain myself. They can think what they like. They can believe what they like. And I've learned to immediately let it go and stop. I notice, I don't know how many of you do this out there. How many of you explain everything you do when somebody goes, well, I thought you were, or I thought you were gonna, I thought you were with him, or I thought you did this or that. What if we just go, okay.
Right.
I mean, we spend so much time. We spend so much time explaining ourselves. Do you realize that?
Yes.
And I'm starting to really practice it again. Like if I'm late calling somebody or I'm late doing something or something, I don't tell the story anymore. I just not going to make it.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
decided not to do it. Instead of making something up like, oh, I'm ill when I'm not, I'm just like not going to make it. I apologize for being late. I apologize for not attending. Are you okay? What happened? I'm okay, period.
Yeah.
Well,
Now answering the what happened.
I can't
I have
believe
a phrase that I like to share with people. You work in a doctor's office, they're there to complain. They ask me about what, and I say, you know what? I'm alive to talk about it.
that's
And
right.
usually always gets a laugh.
That's right.
I am alive to talk about it. Good, bad, whatever.
What were you going to say, Richard?
I was going to say we're at the end of the show, so I can't believe how fast this hour went. But I want to say,
Fun.
it seems like it was just yesterday that Kassira and I were doing our Halloween show, and our next show will be the 29th, and it'll be our Halloween show. So we'll.
Yay!
Cyprian, if you're available, come back and join us.
Yes, give me the info.
Yes.
Yeah, we would love to have you join us.
Yeah, if you're not with Erron or anybody else from the group that you know well, Erron, we can always plug them in. They can always join us. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you, Erron? Is tonight a CE5 or what is it?
CE5 contact
tonight.
Okay. So I am a CE5 member, and I have attended CE5 here. I don't really need a group yet. I thought it would be interesting, and the CE5 group here I've met with once. It was a lot of noise. We were at a huge park here in Dallas. It was a lot of noise. People had been there, and they were taking for freaking ever to freaking leave. When they finally left the area, we saw a lot in the sky. A lot.
Wow.
In the sky. Yeah, we saw a lot of movement.
They waited until everybody left.
They did. They waited very patiently. Yeah. We did the quick meditation. We could not build a fire. We did not have a altar or anything like that. So I'm anxious to hear for you to share what you experienced tonight. Yeah.
Well, the idea is to record as much as possible, so we'll take video and then share them.
Yeah. Cyprian, thank you so much for your patience, and thank you so much for contributing. That was so great.
No worries. It's a pleasure. You guys are a fun bunch, and I'm looking forward to
thank you so much. And I just want to wish
and
everybody.
Richard, thank you, Erron. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I'm just going to say, shine on, harvest
moon, harvest moon. Yeah.
We'll see you all next time.
Love you. See you next time.
Bye,
everybody. Goodbye.
Okay, bye.